In this video, we'll be looking at working with the basics of documents within Flowjo. Documents can be found either through the Documents tab, where you can click on the template and see all the documents for that template, or you can actually see documents related to one of your contacts. So if you go to Contacts and click on a contact, and you can see all of Gary's documents there. So to start off with, we'll have a look at modifying an existing document. So if we take one of these ones here, and you can see it's already been filled in, but if you were working on this document and you wanted to make changes to it, you simply click on the Design button up here, and it will go into design mode. And design mode will show you all the components on the left here that you can drop onto your page. So components consist of static content, which is just things like headings and plain text and links to other pages and things like that. Or it consists of inputs, which are these ones here. And inputs are where a user can enter information into a text box or click a checkbox or a whole range of different options. And you can see there's heaps of them here. We'll cover some of the basics. So if I decided that I wanted to put another text box under the project name, and I click on text box and I drag it across here like that, and drop it where I want it. And you can also reorder things by clicking and holding an item and then moving it to where you want it like that. Once you've put it in place, you can come over here to the right and give it a name. So the label is what appears above it. So that could be project region. And you can see that each item on here has a unique name, and that name is sort of like an identifier for it, so it's got to be different for each one. And if you're creating a email template, these would be the merge fields if you wanted to merge information out of here into an email. So give it a name that makes sense, and then once you're happy with your changes, you can simply switch back to the preview. Now before we do, this design page is actually editing the template. The template affects all documents in the collection. So if you make changes here, it'll be reflected for that template affects all the client's documents. Whereas when I go back to the preview, I'm just looking at a document for this particular client. And so if I'm filling it in, I put a region in here, then that only affects Gary. Now I can go into an architectural proposal for one of the other clients, or even one of Gary's other documents, and you can see the region is now there, but this one hasn't been filled in yet. So that's modifying an existing document. If you were starting a new document from scratch, you'd start off, easiest way is just to choose a person to associate it with, and that could be one of your clients, or it could just be yourself. So if I go into the home page here, bring up my details, and you can see I've got no documents here at the moment. So I can say add a document, and the document can be of one of these template types, or if I wanted to start a brand new one from scratch, I would give it a name. So if I called it fruit order and create, and you can see it gives me a blank one. So the way you design a document is just to drag the items here, so I could have a couple of headings on there, and so this could be fruit details, and then I might have something over here that indicates what type of fruit they're ordering. So that would generally be like a list box, or yeah, let's start with something like or radio buttons. So if we put that on there, and that's going to be called select a fruit. The options might be apple, okay. And then the next thing we do, now you can see the name of that is called select fruit. If I wanted to put a checkbox on, and the checkbox might be called Granny Smith variety. You've got the option to affect the visibility of this item, and that means that it can be based on one of the other fields. So we could say when select fruit equals apple, then it's visible. So if I say save on that one, you can see the summary of it there. And if we want to test that now, we go back into the preview, and you can see if I click on orange, nothing happens, but if I click on apple, then I've got the option to choose the Granny Smith variety. So that can be quite powerful when you get into the more advanced features. You can kind of have the form build itself out based on previous answers from your user or your client. So that's pretty much the basics of getting started with designing your forms. And if I go back to the start now and go into my contacts and go into Dorothy, say add a fruit order, and you can see now Dorothy can order her fruit. That's enough for this video, and we'll go into more detail of some of the more advanced things that you could put on the pages in a further video.